Plain and simple, if you want one of the loudest and most aggressive catbacks in the game for your 2015 through 2017 GT at home, the Corsa Extreme should always be in the discussion. Now, this made in the USA Corsa system is going to combine plenty of volume along with a top quality 304 grade stainless build, double helix X-pipe, and your polished tips, all for right around the $1,900 price point. No cutting needed here for this bolt-on job, guys, so figure a soft 2 out of 3 wrenches on the old difficulty meter, maybe a couple of hours to complete from start to finish, but hang with me for a little bit and we'll walk you through that job later in the video. All right, guys, so with the pleasantries out of the way, let's get down to business here. And listen, if you're looking for one of the loudest, if not the loudest catback systems available for your Coyote-powered S550 GT, the Extreme from Corsa is definitely gonna be the system for you. Now, as you guys heard with our sound clips, this thing delivers in the tone and volume category and is certainly gonna peg the Wake the Neighbor scale at a strong 5 out of 5 on my 1 to 5, or again, 1 the Wake the Neighbor scale. Now, also guys, you have to keep in mind here that this is still with the factory manifolds or factory headers in place. Now, replace those things with some aftermarket free-flowing goodies, and well, you've officially entered the face-melting territory. But getting back to the Corsa system here, and I really like to refer to the Extreme and a lot of the Corsa stuff for that matter as the Jekyll and Hyde of the aftermarket exhaust world, because yes, it can be loud, yes, it can melt faces when you want it to, but if you're just kind of lugging around town or cruising on the highway, this thing can also be whisper quiet. And that's one of the things I've always really enjoyed about the Corsa systems. A lot of exhaust companies claim that their systems don't drone, but Corsa really defines zero drone. I would say this is definitely the benchmark for that. Now, in fact, I've had a few different Corsa systems on some of my rides throughout the years, and certainly been one of my favorite systems for the reasons I just talked about. Super aggressive when you want it to be, but with a mellow side when you have to have things quiet. Now, a big reason for this is the tech or design that goes into these systems, and specifically Corsa's patented RSC, or reflective sound cancellation tech, which is basically going to give you the best of both worlds. Loud when you want it to be, but also very quiet when you want it to be. But let's move away from the sound officially and talk construction materials. And guys, this is a premium system through and through, and as a result, you will be paying a premium price for the Extreme. Now, this does include that high quality 304 grade stainless throughout, guys, basically from tip to tip here. And that does feature the 3-inch mandrel bent tubing, the unique double helix X-pipe, basically a double X-pipe that will help deliver that slightly raspier note, the RSC mufflers, and then finally everything exits out of the 4.5-inch slash cut Pro Series tips, this time in polished. Now, just a quick heads up here, guys, Corsa does also offer this system, but with a very sharp looking black chrome tip instead, for those who might want to go with a slightly different appearance for the rear end. But let's move into the install as I promised earlier, guys, and again, you're looking at a 100% bolt-on job, guys, using nothing more than a basic socket set. However, since all of your work is done underneath the car, Sight is automatically just going to kick things up to a soft 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. Call it a couple of hours to complete from start to finish, which might be a bit generous. But regardless, to give you a better idea of what you're in for in the garage or driveway, feel free to check out our detailed walkthrough and tool breakdown now.
The tools you'll need for this install is a mallet, a ratchet, an impact, a 15mm socket, a 13mm socket, some spray lube, and if you're using a lift, you'll need a pole jack for support as well. Hi everyone, today we're installing a Corsa catback exhaust system on our 2015 Mustang GT, but before we do that, let's watch a quick uninstall video of the stock system. As soon as you're done with that, come on back.
First up here, guys, grab a 15mm deep socket. We're gonna loosen up, but not completely remove, the nuts on both of the band clamps here, connecting your factory resonator to your headers. So we're just gonna loosen these guys up. All right, next step, we're gonna be at our rear subframe right behind our diff. Now you'll see these hangers connect to the subframe itself using two 13mm bolts. Now we don't have to remove the hangers from the isolators. We're actually just gonna unbolt the whole isolator bracket from the frame. So grab a 13mm socket, and I like to use an extension to go right over the sway bar, and we're gonna remove these. Now from there, what I'm gonna do is just lift up on this and swing these guys down. There's a little locking tab here that just hooks in. We just wanna unhook that. So you may have to lift up on the exhaust and then bring it down. All right, next step, before we remove the whole exhaust in one piece, I recommend grabbing WD-40 or something similar with this needle here to just lubricate the hanger above your tips. This is gonna make removing it a whole lot easier. All right, do the same thing on the other side. Next step, guys, we're gonna take our exhaust off all in one piece. Now, you may want a helping hand if you're using a lift like we are. If you're working on the ground, might be a little easier for you to do by yourself. I'd recommend having a mallet to knock these band clamps back a little bit, disconnect it from this side, swing it back toward the front of the vehicle, and set it aside.
Okay, everyone, just a quick note before we actually start the install process. We will be reusing the front clamps and the rear hangers that go behind the differential. Another note to add is we've got these exhaust adapters that go into the front clamps because the new system is slightly larger than the stock system. Okay, let's go ahead and install our adapters into the new system. Just slip those inside. And then we want to make sure that we install our new clamps over the top of these before we install it on the system. So for now, we're just going to slide these new clamps over the top. We're not going to tighten them just yet because we still got to do some adjustments. One thing to note as well is to make sure when you install these that the nuts go on the outside of the pipes so that you've got enough room to tighten them. Okay, now we can reinstall our clamps from the stock system on the front of the pipes. There is an alignment slot on here, so make sure that you put that on the stud on the original pipe. Now we can go ahead and install our new X pipe. Just remember that the support brace on the bottom goes towards the differential. Okay, since we've got our vehicle on a lift, we're going to use a pole jack to support the rear of the new X pipe. If you're doing it on the ground at home, you can get away without it, or if you've got a buddy to use this extra pair of hands, go right ahead. Okay, now we can go ahead and snug up all 4 clamps that we just installed. We don't want to tighten them all the way yet because we may have to adjust it when we complete the system. Okay, now we can slide our new clamp over the X pipe to get it ready to install our muffler. Now we can reinstall the hanger from our stock system right behind the differential. Just make sure that the tab is facing towards the differential itself. And then we're going to use the rear hanger first to give us the support that we need for the muffler. Now we can install our bolt for that hanger to make sure that it's secure. Okay, now we're just going to snug these up so that we can continue on our install. Okay, now we can go ahead and snug up our exhaust clamp using our 15mm socket. Now we can install our muffler clamp on a muffler and then slide our exhaust tip into that. Now we can go ahead and snug up our clamp. And repeat the steps for the other side. Now that we've got everything installed and snugged up, we can go ahead and start from the front and tighten up all of our bolts. Now, the last thing we have to do is tighten up the hangers behind the differential. All right, that wraps up our review and install of the Corsa Extreme Catback exhaust with chrome tips for the 15 to 17 Mustang GT. Thanks for watching. And for all things Mustang, keep it right here on AmericanMuscle.com.